Come on, Nietzsche. Rolling, now come on.
It is an overcast Saturday morning as this group meets at the Fond du Lac Anishinaabemowin Wakaigan, which is Ojibwe for Language House. The gray skies didn't dampen their enthusiasm for speaking the Ojibwe language.
I'm going into my 5th year. When I first got here, they didn't have a program. So that first year, that's all I did was get the lay of the land. And then the second year, I started, and I did come in with a 3-year strategic plan of my own, which I was following for the language program. So in the second year was the building year, get some resources together. The language table was one of the first things that we started up again. It's grown quite a bit. We have actually now an international reputation, because in June of last year I took Ricky Defoe with me. He's one of our language and curriculum specialists, and we went and did a panel presentation in Alberta for the Stabilizing Indigenous Languages conference.
What arose from that conference was a multimedia Ojibwe language anthology project.
Everybody has different ways of learning that are most beneficial to them, and I think audio is the proven method of learning. I think the time-proven method is just to socialize, to be amongst one another, to gain the fluency skills, the understanding, the confidence, and the knowledge, especially to be at ease around folks that are more proficient than you, that use our language.
My position is I help orientate the elders in the recordings to make sure they're talking about topics. So for me, it's actually a really big learning experience, because I get to sit around and listen to these elders converse with each other about these really important topics, and then we go back and we listen to them talk again, and we write down everything they say in Ojibwe, and we translate it, and then we talk to them about, is this translation right? Is this good? Is there would you say this differently in English? So it's definitely, for me, it's a huge learning experience.
Rounding out the group is Tom Jack and Pat Northrup.
I've been teaching and helping with the language here in this area for probably almost 10 years now. I am a first language speaker. We have to know who we are, we have to know where we come from. I'm really glad to be in this community helping with the language.
I'm a learner of the language. I'm a Dakota, I'm a Wakantua, Dakota. And efforts are being made in all of Indian country, I think, now today. The resources they have nowadays is just phenomenal. And to hear, every time I see Ricky, he says things to me in Ojibwe, and I love it. I'm a cheerleader for the language.
Pat and her husband, award-winning author, the late Jim Northrup, were also instrumental in establishing the Kiwanis Language Camp, held annually on the reservation. As long as this group at the Language House is doing the work they love, the Ojibwe language will always have a home.
There are some speakers that will say it's changing, and it's changing immensely when we start to write it down. That's why I'm trying to move more toward audio, to get the speakers that we have to record for us. And anybody can listen to that anywhere. Even if you only remember a few words, as long as you use them, it just goes a long way.
I've been surrounded by people my entire life who are practically fluent, whether they're a first language speaker or whether they're self-taught. And so I see people everywhere putting tons of dedication and hard work into the language and themselves, and the progress they make is immense. So I'm not afraid of it going away at all.
The Ojibwe language gives to the world a unique worldview. Most of the elders are, we have just a few left that speak our language, so it makes it difficult to converse on a daily basis, but they do contribute in other ways, and so that's a challenge that we have. We know that our language is so-called endangered, but it has a spirit to it, and I think the spirit will live on.
Funding for this episode of Native Report is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.